This is Jean Louise Hebert Brown, and this is March 1st, 2022, and I am narrating something that probably was about 1958 or 59. We were living at 334 Mount Vernon in Grosse Pointe Farms, and we had added a back porch and so created a sort of dining area, and we moved the record player there, and we installed a peg, I didn't, Dad did, installed a pegboard wall with racks where we would put our records so that they were the decoration in that room. Well, this particular Christmas, the records were removed and Christmas cards were added, and this is a video of Dad, George, looking at the Christmas cards, and then David Brown comes bouncing in. He must be about 10, and he looks at the cards as well. Look at all the cards. In those days, everybody exchanged Christmas cards. There's Dad being silly. She wasn't very often. Now, this is a scripted movie that we decided to make together called the Kibitzer. And the Kibitzer, or one who kibitz, gives advice. And so I'm playing checkers with Mother, and here David gives me this advice of this wonderful move to make. And then Mother proceeds. Well, here I am making the move. Oh, we're shaking hands. We're really excited about this move. Mother looks at the board, and she proceeds to clean up because it was a bad move. And this makes me angry, and so I take a pie, which is just a pie tin filled with Dream Whip, and I smash it in David's face. Of course, David had never had a Dream Whip pie smashed in his face before, so it was pretty disgusting to him, and he has never eaten Dream Whip since that day. And you should see how mean I am. Well, you'll see it next, because I do it again. Just when he's getting cleaned up. That's my cat Susie. When I went to college, Aunt Helen took Susie and kept her. And then we have the post-production. These were signs that we made. Dad was supposed to put them at the front of the movie, of course, but it never got done. We're sitting in our kitchen dining room area where the Christmas cards were on the wall opposite us, and we're at the breakfast bar. And now David makes a little video of a car crash. It's a toy that actually was designed to come apart when it crashes and be put back together. But David is pretending to be distraught about this automobile falling apart. His friends are there with him. I think that's Bobby Senesey and Bobby Messenger. I think that's Bobby Senesey, Bobby Messenger. Not sure, but that's what I think. This is a dinner party on Birch Lane, and Mother is entertaining her brother Robert, who is visiting with his wife and children from Pittsburgh, and grandmother, his mother, Ida Mae Sayre, is there. That's Bob, and next to Bob is his son. I think that's Richard, but it could be James. Then Marilyn, and that's Jean. And we're eating parfait, which is the dessert that Mother liked to make whenever she was having a dinner party. She loved to make parfait. I think that must be James. Richard committed suicide by jumping from the Richmond Bridge, I think, in San Francisco. He was in a great deal of pain. He had been a mail carrier, and he was in a lot of pain and couldn't get any relief. And in the white sweater is Ida Mae. Stone's there. There's Mother, Catherine Brown. And that's Audrey. That's Bob's wife. Marilyn died of colon cancer when she was probably in her 40s. That was a quick shot of Aunt Betty in the Christmas tree next. And now Dad's playing some drums. And sitting behind him you will see Uncle Bill, his brother, who was blind, wearing dark glasses because he would not get his glaucoma treated because he's a Christian was a Christian Scientist. And next to Dad, now Dad's moved to the sofa, and that's Uncle Jim, James Ireland Walker, who is Aunt Helen's husband. Now, because they're banging on things, I think maybe this is New Year's Eve, but I'm not sure. There's Aunt Helen. There's Uncle Bill playing the drums now. It makes sense that they were banging on things. The Scottish people have quite a lot of celebrations and traditions for New Year's Eve, and the Browns always got together and did first footing and all those Scottish traditions. This is California, and this is a trip that Mom and Dad took to California, and an old car backing out of the garage. Now the kids weren't with them. They took a lot of trips, vacations by themselves. I would imagine that this is James Halferty on the left and Commander, his name is either Brown or Bumpus. I think his name was also George Brown. He was my godfather. You think I would remember, but I don't exactly. And he had a wife named Bella, I remember that. They were friends during the war when Dad was stationed in Mare Island in Vallejo, California, which is where I was born and where they got married. And that's Mother in the blue dress. They're quite close to the ocean, just a few blocks from the ocean. I think they lived in Manhattan Beach. And here's taking a ride, passing the ocean and the desert and oil rigs. I think that must be Bella talking to Mother. And then a picture of the beach. Mother likes those little pink flowers. Catherine was a beautiful photographer. She was very artistic, and her pictures were very nicely conceived and thought out. I did not inherit any of that ability. Of course, these are the days that Mom and Dad should have bought land in California, but who knew? Now she takes a picture of or Dad, whoever is doing the filming, takes a picture of a cruise ship, the Sunward. There's Mother sunbathing on the beach. She's made herself a little shade. Back on the road, notice all the billboards along the highway. They're really not allowed on the highway anymore. You don't see them very often. Not in California anyway. This is David pretending to be Dad at Christmas time, because Dad always brought in the tree and threw his hat down. This particular Christmas, I am with my fiancé, David Murray, from whom I happily got divorced 7 years later. I am just graduating from college, from George Washington University, and that's where we met. So it's about 1967, maybe. Could be 68. I'm putting the angel on the tree. George did not get along well with David Murray. They were quite a bit alike, very argumentative and controlling. Part of my attraction to him was he was like my dad. They both controlled their anxiety by telling other people what to do and how to do it. Both of them made me anxious with that behavior. And that's on Birch Lane. David must be filming. David Murray behind the tree, putting the lights on. And Mother, Catherine, having a cup of coffee. Dad telling us to stop filming. Now Mother's making a wreath. She was very artistic and creative. She was an art major at Wayne State University and then was an art teacher before she married. David Murray looks at a tape recorder. I don't know whether someone had gotten him that as a gift or... And there I am in a pink sweater that Aunt Betty had knitted for me. Aunt Helen in the kitchen. And Mother in red, and Aunt Margaret always with her back to us. She hated to have her picture taken. She was Uncle Bill's wife, the one who introduced to Christian Science, religion. And there's the table, Mother's wonderful chairs that she loved. And Aunt Helen, Mother's glasses, she loved those glasses too. The pink cranberry glasses. Aunt Helen trying to get to know David Murray. Uncle Jim. And that's the house on Birch Lane. I want to say it was 702 Birch Lane, but I'm not sure. 2 cars in the garage. One of them has a bumper sticker for representing Scotland, of course. In the backyard, there were no fences between all the neighbors, so it was like a big open space in the back. And Dad liked to garden and grow vegetables, and particularly tomatoes. And the little boy a couple of doors down called him the Tomato King. There are the tomatoes coming along. Now it's winter time on Birch Lane. You can see how flat Michigan is. This is a visit that David and I made to Mom and Dad when they were living in Arizona. And we had both gotten divorced and we were living in California. So we were able to see them pretty easily. We weren't all the way back in Michigan. We were not that close at this point, but we were going to get closer. And this is sort of the beginning of our new relationship with each other as a family. David is probably doing the filming. There's the saguaro cactus, because he's not in most of these pictures. We visited a gold mine. I think it was probably like a ghost town. I have my single lens reflex camera, which I loved, and someone stole from my house because somebody left the front door open. And Mother had her Polaroid camera. That's what she liked using. So I'm pretending that I'm cleaning up in the mess hall. And then I take the camera and there's a shot of David in the hanging tree. So he is hanging in the hanging tree. The ghost town in the desert. And now we're in San Marcos at Mom and Dad's house there, and we're going to have a rainbow Christmas. And rainbow Christmas was a way that we could celebrate Christmas with Dawn, because she was not really allowed to come to see us at Christmas. In those days, Mikey was very oppositional with David. In the back is Carol with the real long hair, you'll see her, and Dawn and Kent. There's Carol, Brumba Brown. I think this is before they got married. There's Dawn. She's in high school probably. Kent. Everyone looks so young and happy, dancing in the kitchen. And that's George, and Dawn called him Foddy rather than grandfather. Playing the air drums, singing together. And then for whatever reason, David does this trick with the egg. It's kind of silly. Not quite sure what that's all about. And then I show my badge. So I was working at the court, the Superior Court, and they had given me a badge because I was an officer of the court. And I'm showing off my badge. There's a bike rider. It's so dark you can't really see what's going on. Just sort of get a sense. Mother always liked those Swedish or Danish hanging lights. So now they're living on El Corral in Lake San Marcos, California. There's an exerciser and a bike rider. This is Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and David and Carol were given a timeshare in Puerto Vallarta as a wedding gift. They got married, I think it was 82 or 83. There's Carol waving, drinking a beer. She doesn't drink now. There's David. Maybe he got the hat down there. Very lush and green in Puerto Vallarta. Carol Brumba Brown, she decides to go parasailing, which I think takes a lot of trust in these guys, because they're going to have to catch her as she comes back. A lot of 3 people to help her get set up. And there she goes. Carol had a degree from college in some kind of recreational planning or recreational activity planning. So she can be very athletic, or could be. And then David goes. This is 1984. Actually, it's probably April. Oh, Alex was born on April 20th. There's my dog, Bo. Come out to see me. And there's John. I'm coming home from the hospital. I was in the hospital maybe 4 days, maybe 5, 4, I think 4, because I had a cesarean. And after the cesarean, I had like a headache. An epidural headache, and I stayed in the hospital a little extra time. Here's John with lots of hair. Carol. Carol was always wonderful when Alex was a baby. She just loved him so much and was so helpful, taking care of him. And when I got home, then I saw Bo, and she was dirty and probably had fleas. And so the first thing I did was I gave the dog a flea bath. Probably this is what I was doing when Carol was holding him. He was a cute baby. A pretty easy baby. Wasn't terribly fussy. He liked a lot of stimulation. And John would take him out for walks around the block. We lived on Granada. He's taking Bo and the baby out for a walk. Bo was a Basenji mix. And this is my dad and Malcolm, who is John's brother, and I don't know who the other guy is. There's Mother with the baby. My dad loved Malcolm because Malcolm is a good Scottish name, and Malcolm was an engineer like my dad. Dad is trying to get the sun out of the baby's eyes. I don't think my parents had as much fun being grandparents as John and I are having, but they did love Alex and spent a lot of time with him when we would come up for the weekends. And that's the end of this movie.